It's the most corrupt thing I've ever seen in my life. Well, Senator, was it DeMint? Who was the senator that had the amendment to the Farm Bill that was calling for all of them being voluntary? You saw his bill got shot, or his amendment got shot down. But I want to tell you, when you start talking about the $2, to raise it to $2, if your state says, you know what, we're going to raise it an extra, we're going to collect $1 here. The law says that 50 cents has to go to the CBB of the original dollar. That other dollar that you, if it passes, your board will get to decide where it goes. Your board will. And I sat in a meeting back when it was at the Supreme Court, to which they flat out said, we need all the states to pass their own checkoffs and send that dollar to NCBA. That's, you know, so you cannot let that happen. Yes?
Let's say a state, let's say I was successful in getting the state legislature in Wyoming to remove Wyoming from that mandatory federal checkoff. That is
For your state.
for our state.
If you can get it done, but it's a federal law which the Supreme Court has upheld.
I think if states' rights understood, I think we do. I think it needs to be done.
I'm not disagreeing. Last summer, Destry Brown was working for us. We had to let Destry go. But I asked Destry to call you, Kimmy, and to call Wyoming, because we had Dudley Butler's ear. And we had, who was the other young guy from Iowa? John. Anyway, we had his ear. And I said, what would be nice would be to make it so that every state has to elect from the producers, not from organizations. You have to elect from the producers. Well, Dudley comes up with this idea instead, let's change the word established, what established means. Well, here's the problem with changing established. If you change established to say, okay, RCAF can now contract, or ICON can contract, or SICA can contract. If you change that, you still got that operating committee, to which 10 of them are NCBA members, guaranteed. And they're going to make damn sure NCBA keeps winning contracts.
But I've already heard that they're threatening to allow them. They're threatening to hold that parrot out there and let USDA and RCAF have some of the money so we'll shut up. They're going to see it. Leave it out. Get rid of it.
Right, so even if, you're right, even, that's what I mean, even if they do pass it, and NCBA is not going to fight, oh yeah, they're going to act like they're fighting, oh yeah, well, okay, we gave in to you guys. We gave you the established clause. It doesn't matter, because when you go to those committees, and you sit in that committee meeting, and it's full of federation directors and CBB directors, those contracts go to NCBA. Here's another one that you might really find interesting. The $10 million that your states pay to buy those seats just kind of happens to be the same amount of money that NCBA gets for implementation costs, which is $10 million. See, it's called a cost recovery. If it costs $1 for this bottle of water, I can't charge the checkoff $1 too, especially if I spill it all over. But I can charge the checkoff $1 for the water and $2 to implement it, to go get it. You got it? Cost recovery. Okay, so it's just ironic that the Federation's dollars that are sent forward is about the same as the implementation costs. Now I'll say it, I said it boldly before, that's money laundering. Al Capone would be so proud of the way this thing works. You know, he would just say, what a great job. What a great job. So, you got to get control of your checkoff councils for right now, unless you can figure out some way, unless we can get it kicked out. But the established clause is not going to change anything. It is absolutely, and Dudley doesn't want to hear it, and I've told him point blank, and he doesn't want to hear it. But it won't. Well, so anyway, that's what I was going to say. The money the Federation collects, the CBB has $50 million, and the Federation throws in 10. All right, so National Cattle Women, for an example, well, I shouldn't use that, let's use National Livestock Producers Association. They win a contract. Are you ready for this? No Federation dollars can be spent on it. Federation dollars can only be spent on contracts that NCBA runs. Only. You didn't know that, did you, Kimmy? What they tell you when you go to your beef council and you start raising hell and you say, how come we're buying these seats with what do you got, 3 guys from Colorado to go to the NCBA committee, not the CBB, your state beef councils. You say, why are you spending that money on that? They say, because we got to forward that money forward, because you can't spend it in Colorado, you got to spend it where the people are. So we'll pool it with checkoff dollars to give us more buying power. Fine. Problem is, those dollars can only be spent on NCBA. If some other outfit, if Farmers Union come in and won the advertising contract, to which the Federation puts in $1 million, not one dime would go to the Federation. Or to Farmers Union, not one dime. Because Federation money can only be spent on NCBA contracts.
So we have a question from Colorado. U.S. Farm and Ranch Alliance was formed, which most farmers would need to pay money to or not in there. And beef checkoff, they get money for the beef checkoff. How's that work, Dave? USDA is getting money and RCAP isn't getting money, but now this new group called U.S. Farm and Ranch Alliance, they get $500,000, Farm Credit gets them $250,000. I mean, money's just floating around everywhere. How's that work?
Well, that works from corporate agriculture. Corporate agriculture bought and paid for that. They want to change that image. They know that the people do not want to see the pictures on HSUS. They know that. They would rather have the Marlboro guy. So they're going to co-opt your image to push their product. And that's what they've done. And the beef checkoff thinks that that is a great idea because it's promoting beef, the product. So they fork over $500,000. Let's see, Weldon Wynn had a seat. He's the vice president. At first, he was the treasurer. He was our treasurer and their treasurer for a short time. But now he just has a seat on the board. So Forrest Roberts has a seat on the board. Farm Bureau's the instigator behind it. They started it in Nebraska back 10 years ago. They came up with what was called, and I can't think of what it was called. It started out, Tom Osborne was trying to bring all the groups together, and he said, we're going to have a vote, we're going to make decisions based on consensus, not majority rule. And it worked on consensus, but once Osborne left, the Bureau, the pork, and the cattlemen took it over. AFAN's what it's called. And what they did was, they took the whole concept that he had and they used that to promote their products. And Farm Bureau pushed it. And this is just the same thing on a national level. There's one that's, yes?
What's the status of the Inspector General report of the NCBA's misallocation of funds?
The last I know, the Inspector General, I guess I would back up and say the funds, started out at $217,000, and the last I heard was up to $400,000. As for the Inspector General, that report, it's not out. I mean,
It was supposed to be in March.
right. And there's 2 of them going on. One is on APHIS and one is on the CBB. So sometimes that gets to be confusing. People think there's one, but there's 2 of them that are going on. And we haven't heard from either one of them, have we?
You did hear the one on the AMS, though.
On AMS. Yep. Yes.
Did I understand you correctly? If we didn't have brand laws in the western United States, we wouldn't be paying all the money?
I'm saying it wouldn't be policed.
What's the question?
She said if we didn't have brand laws in the western United States, we wouldn't be paying that check off. And I'm saying it wouldn't be policed because country sales in those areas are collected by the brand inspectors. Country sales on the other side, there's no one to inspect, there's no one
But
to...
doesn't that equal the same thing? Because you said part of Nebraska's not paying it.
She's diabolical, you know that?
Well, I'm just saying it's a weird catch-22.
It
We're trying
is.
to get rid of our brand laws, our brand, and yet, in a way, if it went away, it saved us a heck of a lot of money.
Right, but if it went away, you got to consider this. If it went away and then they enforce animal ID,
Yeah, I know.
you know,
I know one wants that.
I mean, maybe that's one way you could raise the cane. You could say, hey, all you boys out east, pass animal ID and we're gonna entitle Checkoff to it to be inspected every time. Whoa!
There you go. We might get it.
Matter of fact, I got a friend, and you'll figure it out, Mike, I know you, but I got a friend who bought some bulls down in Florida. Hauled them back to the sand hills. He said, do I gotta pay Checkoff on it? And the guy said, yeah, we ain't ever paid it. He said, we might start something now, then we'll go back. I said, why do they have to? They do not have to. Right now in Nebraska, we have 9 directors. 3 of them want to change it. We have elections coming up this year. If I can get 2 more guys on the board, Nebraska will quit buying those seats. And we will quit sending $2 million to NCBA. That's why I'm saying you've got to get control of your beef council. But we're the only ones that elect. The rest of you are appointed, what, through Farm Bureau or a Farmers Union or some organization, and then the Director of Agriculture gets to decide who it is? Something to that effect? I can tell you, Mike knows this, I can tell you down in Kansas, if you think the Federation is a non-legal entity, Kansas Beef Council does not exist either. It is a non-legal entity. It's a wholly owned subsidiary of KLA. They're the number 2 beef council in the country. It's a racket. It's an absolute racket. And it all happened in 96. Well, it started in 92 when pork and sheep left. That left beef sitting there all by itself.
But if CICA would lead the charge and get rid of the beef checkoff, would ICON stand with this, or you got the membership behind it?
We have it in our policy
Get rid of it?
to get rid of it, to get rid of it and change it.
Well, why don't you share your policies? So you're going to understand what ours. Thank you.
But see, like I said last summer when Destry was with us yet, I tried to get Destry to contact you guys and let's go forward with a resolution saying we want to change the act in the order to state that Federation directors will be elected from the cattle population. And I want to tell you something, if this ever happens, if you ever get down that road, if you get to the legislature and say, hey, we want to change that, draw your lines and your districts based on where the cows are. You got it? Where the cow, no offense, Mike, where the cows are. You take the cow area and you make 4 or 5 districts over there and put all those feeders in one district by themselves. Because you guys, you cow-calf guys tend to be stable and generational and, you know, and you heard Bill's discussion, you know, the Packers are trying to control those feeders. And when they get to that point, so we need to be in a position to where we control those seats. Kieran, you thought you just voted for something in 1988, didn't you? You didn't realize it was an underlying program that started back in 1922. You don't think the Packers knew what they were doing? See, and John Houston had said that to me. Him and I had a discussion one night, and he said NC had a member on the board of National Livestock and Meats Board forever. And not once did they say anything about making a national mandated checkoff. Not once. And see the difference between the Livestock and Meats Board and NCBA, the Livestock and Meats Board was a non-political organization. They didn't go to Washington, D.C. and lobby on ag policy. If they did, they went and argued on, you know, beef or something, you know. But that's what changed. It's the most corrupt thing I've ever seen in my life.